welcome to the Squirrel Squad podcast numero zero. We are here with me, Curt, Kimm, and with Michael Butrum. How's it going, Michael?
What's going on?
All right, I gotta do this right. Okay, there we go. I gotta actually switch scenes there. Now we're good to go. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at SquirtusMV07. Michael is at Michael or at Butrum underscore Michael. This is our first podcast in a long time. We did one. What was that like?
Oh gosh,
A
it's been forever.
year and a half, probably at least.
Been a long time.
It's been a really long time. But so on Tuesdays, Michael and I, out of our friend group, are like the only ones that are free to do stuff. So I was like, I want to get back into podcasting. It's very
Absolutely.
my wife said, man, that's very white male of you to want to get into a podcast. And you know what? She's right, and that's okay. But I thought it'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always wanted to do stuff like that.
All right, so this first episode, episode 0, is titled Sentinels Repeat. So
Sentinels repeat.
obviously we're gonna be talking about the VCT and what's going on there. But first, I want to bring up something that I think, Michael, you've been watching a little bit more. But the Olympics, have you been watching it lately?
Yeah, actually quite a bit. Been tuning in most evenings. Of course, being in Tokyo, the time zones are pretty flipped. So watching the main stuff's like 1 a.m. on. So luckily, I'm a night person, and I've been able to take in quite a few events.
What has been your favorite so far? I've literally watched pretty much nothing.
Yeah. I don't know. I honestly probably, it's been really cool to see all the skateboarding stuff. They've got like the street stuff, and as far as I'm aware, that's all new this year, which is kind of cool. The one thing that I will say though, and maybe we can talk about this too, and I don't know if you know a whole lot about it, but the X Games are going on at the same time. So like,
That makes
what
sense.
is going on there?
That makes sense. I guess everyone
Like,
that's just not good enough to be in the Olympics can go to the X Games. That seems not
no, it's
well
the
prepared.
opposite. It's the opposite. I watch the Olympics and it's nobody that I've ever heard
Really?
of. And all the people that are well known are all competing in the X Games. So I don't know why they chose to do maybe they chose to do the X Games now to kind of like middle finger the like the Olympics or what, but
Well,
it's been weird.
it wasn't originally gonna be
That
now.
is true. I
Remember,
guess they do. I
so
guess they are overlapping each other. Yeah.
because the Olympics were supposed to be last year, so maybe they just were like, yeah, we're not gonna replan the X Games. It's already planned out.
Yeah, it's been weird. They like all the people that they've had on there are like, like 25th in the world, 15th in the world, like no, like hardly any top 10 people because they're all competing in the X Games. It's really just odd. Um, but that's been cool. It was cool to see women's skateboarding. I've never seen that before, so that was kind of unique. But the big thing obviously is Simone Biles. You've been keeping up with that today?
I did saw that. And that was actually another thing on my list. What are your? It's a touchy subject.
For sure.
What are your thoughts on it? And then I'll kind of give my thoughts.
So as far as I understand, like
I guess yeah. Give a quick recap in case you know.
So as far as I
People are-
understand, she backed out of the team competition due to potentially like some sort of physical injury. As we know, she qualified for 7 or 8 potential medal competitions. So team competition was one of them, of course, and she bowed out last night. And so apparently she can still come back for the individual events, but obviously the uproar over her leaving her team hanging and still receiving a medal for not doing her part has been some, for lack of better words, tenuous conversation on the internet today.
Yeah. Again, I talked to my wife about this too, and Obviously, if it's a physical thing, that makes total sense. Um, a lot of people have issues when it comes to mental health,
Naomi
and
Osaka.
and
Yep.
yeah, Osaka was a huge. Also, people had issues with her bowing out of tournaments because she lists mental health as the issue. Um, but I think it's good that they're bringing it up. But the biggest thing is how would people react, and I hope they would react somewhat the same way. The Olympics and gymnastics that's like the finals of the NBA. Like that is the top of the
It's
line.
the pinnacle. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of took it, what would people say about LeBron James if it was game 7 of the NBA finals and he's like, "Nah, I'm not mentally in it right now.
Yeah.
I can't play." And he would get crucified. I honestly believe he would get crucified way more than the females are in sports that aren't as big in the United States.
Sure.
It's not
Yeah.
right, but it's interesting because I don't think they'd be, you know, it wouldn't be the same between.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people are trying to compare the two. I think the one thing, like, take for example, when Naomi backed out of the French Open, the one thing that she had going for her is it's an individual sporting event, right? Like, she's the only one that she's affecting.
Correct. Yeah.
It's just not a team sport. It's not these things. Now, Simone, if she was only competing in individual events, well, yeah, then that's her decision. Like, make the decision, whatever. But if it would be where your team, you have other people who have worked their entire lives to achieve, a gold medal in something at the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
And not everybody's as skilled as Simone Biles to compete in 8 events for a medal, right? So it comes down to, for some of them, their only event that they're going to get a medal in ever is a team event. So for her to not do her part, a lot of people were bringing up what was that girl's name years ago
Oh, her
that
leg.
did the yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, what was her name?
I literally
It's
just saw it on
escaping
Facebook
me.
too.
Yeah, but like, you get out there and you do your routine, right? So
But
I can see both sides of things, but I'm with you. Like, a physical injury obviously is a little bit different
Carrie
than
Strug.
Carrie Strug. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a tough spot because it is a team sport, like you said. Obviously, mental health and how you are personally is above all bigger than any medal or anything. But as a competitor, it's tough. It's a tough. It's a really tough spot because I'm not
Yeah.
gonna say I know exactly how she feels because I don't know what spot. Maybe she didn't believe she was in a mental spot to be able to compete at her highest level to even help the team.
Yeah,
It
and
could
that's
be
where
the case too.
maybe she thought she'd be a liability, or
Yeah.
we all know that mental health issues are oftentimes, at best, very hard to pinpoint. It's not a thing where it's like, okay, well, we know what's wrong with you, we can diagnose, we know what routine will bring back a physical injury to full health, those sorts of things. Mental health is very much elusive in some ways, and so we can't quite know where or what headspace somebody is in that sort of situation. So it kind of does come down to a person individually deciding what's best for them.
Yeah. They did get silver as a team. I did see that.
Always got to wonder, though,
I
right?
guess they had a comeback to even get silver. I honestly, I've not watched. It's just the time difference. I just have a hard
Yeah.
time watching anything when
It's
it's
late.
real late
Yeah.
at night slash really early in the morning.
It's late.
I don't know. And
All I know
the
is
whole not having fans and stuff, it just makes
it's been weird.
it makes it like the last year's, NBA finals and sportings when there's no one in the crowd. It's just I don't know. It's just strange. Like I did watch a little bit of women's sand volleyball and just you could really
Yeah.
see the crowd around, or where would the crowd be? Because they're like right on top of them, and it's
They
just
built all the stands and everything.
yeah, and there's just no one there. It's strange.
Yeah, I got to you know, we can wrap up on this in a minute, but I really I got to I never realized the United States. It's always funny, like the stuff that we compete in, you know, all the sports that happen, and um it, it just there's all kinds of things. But anyway, I was passing by at work. We have TVs at work and like kind of just the lobbies and stuff, and I was passing by after getting some coffee, and it was probably 8:30 this morning, and things were wrapping up. They had I didn't even know the United States had a water polo team, but there we are, absolutely waxing the
Yeah, didn't
Republic
we
of
win
South
like
Africa.
25-2 or something? I saw.
When I walked by, it was 16-2, and I was like, huh.
It was the largest. I saw it. It was the largest victory in Olympic history in water polo.
I know nothing about water polo, so I'm like, you
Right?
know, in my mind I was like, that could be like, for all I know, it could be like golf, and you know, South Africa could be winning. I don't know. It's a lower score win, it's a higher score win, but yeah, apparently we were waxing them. So
Okay, so I have two more other things about the Olympics. If you were given 4 years and you could dedicate all your time to, what Olympic sport do you think you have the best chance at competing in?
oh
Summer
geez,
Olympic sport.
Summer Olympics.
Mine's got to be
Oh
like,
man,
do they have archery in
I'm
the
sure they
Olympics?
like I know that winter has the whatever, the triathlon with the cross country skiing,
Mm-hmm.
the shooting, and the what is the other thing? Is I guess maybe it's just a
It's
biathlon,
just
right?
yeah, it's biathlon. It's just shooting
Okay,
and
okay.
cross country
Yeah,
skiing.
I don't know. What do they have? Let me see.
I gotta look up. Yeah, I gotta look up the. Okay, they do have archery. I feel like I could put 4 years in all my time to do archery. That's
I I used to dabble in archery. Apparently, according to the medals, South Korea is dominant in archery. Apparently, so they have 3 golds right now. I never would have known that. Yeah. United States
um
has 0, so maybe you
artist
could learn it.
artistic swimming. No, that's a big old negative.
Artistic swimming.
It's a big old negative for me.
I
If
feel like it. I feel like probably if we were playing like in my prime, 4 years, and I could dedicate to it, probably some sort of running event.
yeah.
Like I
Oh,
don't know,
speaking of
something.
running, did you see the pure carnage that was the triathlon at the Olympics? Have you
No,
seen
I
any
didn't
of
see
that
that.
video?
Huh?
So they were taking video, and like the first person that won it, I think it was from like the Netherlands or something. It was kind of an upset because the person that ended up getting second it was really good at running. But he stayed ahead, won it, and then kind of collapsed. And the second person came in and like congratulate him. But like it was everyone behind him. At one point, there was like 10, 15 people just laying on the ground getting medical staff was with them
I'm
because
seeing that
it
now.
was just so hot, I guess, I think. And
Yeah.
honestly, it's a triathlon. It's grueling anyways. It's kind of crazy. I think the winning time was an hour and 45 minutes, which is
Yeah, he did it
nuts.
in an hour, 45 minutes and 4 seconds, and it says obviously, if for the listeners who don't know what a triathlon is, it's 1.5 kilometers of swimming,
Ugh.
it's 40 kilometers of cycling, and then it's 10 kilometers of running, which
10Ks
yeah,
run,
which is a ton.
jeez.
So put this in perspective, you know, most people 5Ks here in the United States is roughly 3.1
Two,
ish miles,
yeah, something like
3.2
that.
miles.
Yep.
So yeah, six and a
Six.
half miles of running. The part that kills me is 1.5 kilometer swim. I mean,
Yeah.
that's grueling. Um, but yeah,
Almost
an
as yeah,
hour and
basically
45 minutes.
a mile swim. Basically, it's just under a mile.
He
That's crazy.
apparently passed uh who I guess the guy who everybody thought was going to win, some 23-year-old
Hmm.
guy. They passed him like within the last final seconds of the 10K run, and then dropped to his knees and vomited all over the place, and
Oh
needed to be put in a
Jesus.
wheelchair, something crazy.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's some of these are nuts. I didn't know they had canoe slash kayak flat water and then canoe slash kayak slalom.
What?
Yeah. What is exactly is like? So I'm guessing the canoe kayak flat water is obviously like in a lake, like a huge
It's got to be,
lake,
yeah, right?
and then the canoe kayak slalom is in a river.
What if they kayaked in like a swimming pool? Like they were just like, okay, everybody out of the water for the swimming event. Now everybody in there with the kayaks.
And with the kayaks. Yeah, they had BMX racing this year. That's kind of cool.
That's pretty dope.
I think that I could, if I put 4 years and I was younger, I could be decent at that. Oh, so I just found out. I was just listening to Pat McAfee, and evidently,
Oh yeah.
I think it's. Oh, I don't want to misquote it. It's like South Korean. It's an Asian country. If they medal in anything, they don't have to do military time.
What?
Yeah. So the those I want to say South Korea, but I'm not sure exactly. Those participants in golf actually didn't play in the U.S. Open that was just played a few weeks ago. They went and because they wanted to practice for the Olympics.
It's South Korea.
It's South Korea. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So South Korean athletes avoid the draft.
Yeah.
For decades. Hang on a second. New York Times. Let me see this.
Yeah, it was
I did
kinda
not know
nuts.
this. Yeah, so apparently for decades, so by law, all able-bodied men in South Korea must spend at least 21 months in armed forces.
Okay.
But it
Basically,
looks
if
if
they
they
medal,
medal,
they get out of it.
they medal an event, they're exempt.
That's crazy.
I
That's how
guess
much they.
another
That's crazy how much they put towards the Olympics. Like, I think obviously for some sports, it's the pinnacle. It's the highest that you're gonna go. Um, that's why I think you see other countries being so good at it. But like the United States, some of the, some of the like random
uh,
ones like we just aren't good
yeah.
at.
I so
How are we
apparently
not good
it's
at weightlifting? I don't feel like
dude,
I feel like
I don't know.
we never medal in that. I think every once in a while we do, but I feel like that's
Well,
something the United States would be really good at for whatever
you and I talked about
reason.
this last night, but like the men's tennis is just lacking. Like women's tennis, we got the run of the freaking gamut, right? Like
Yeah.
ain't nobody touching women's tennis other than Naomi Osaka. But like men's tennis, they were saying that I think the only U.S. men's tennis player who had a potential to medal this time around is like ranked like 48th or 49th in the world. So like that's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody's touching Djokovic or Nadal or any of
Well,
those guys.
yeah, those Nadal didn't play or didn't he backed out. He had knee issues, I guess. He didn't
Something to talk
participate.
about that on though. Something to talk about that on. I don't know if you've been keeping up with this, but Djokovic has a chance to become the first person since Steffi Graf, and the only man to ever do this is what they call the golden Grand Slam. So he will have won all Grand Slams, so all major Grand Slams, and a gold medal if he does it all in the same year.
Wow.
Apparently, Steffi Graf was the last person to do that. The only person to ever do it. Not the last person, the only person. So that'd be crazy if he does it. So
That
something to
is
keep an eye on.
nuts. Yeah, that is crazy. Um Also, last thing Olympics wise is the men's basketball team just sucks.
Yeah,
For the
they do.
US.
They really do.
It's like
I mean,
they don't play they don't play international type ball. It's a different type of
Yeah,
game.
it really
And
is.
it's more team. And it's not individual isolations. That's just not how you play because they can play zone more.
Yep.
There's just a little bit different rules here and there, but
Their
they've been
game the other
they've been
night,
kind
they
of a
got
disappointment.
worked.
By
Yeah,
France,
they got worked.
by France. Their loss to
Yes.
France. Yeah.
Yeah, I like France just looked, of course they had Rudy Gobert, who is an
and
animal.
he dominated.
Obviously the Jazz were solid this year and he had a great season. But I mean, the rest of the players are all like very no name. Like I saw I don't know if you saw this meme, but it was a picture of oh, who was it? Uh, I cannot have to find it, but it's an NBA player. He's standing in the background. He's staring at one of the French players at the free throw line. And the header just said, when you know how this guy plays all season in the NBA and you're going, dude, why are you acting like this now? And it's just like like basically like these guys don't, they're not really competing in the NBA against the top NBA players, but they show up to, play for their country
right?
and nobody can stop them. So yeah.
I the last thing on that, I'll give props to was it Devin Booker and
Oh yeah, those guys who
the two guys
flew
from
straight from the
yeah the two guys from Milwaukee who did go from Milwaukee. Was it Chris Middleton? Did he go?
Middleton, yep,
Yeah,
Middleton, Booker, and one other person.
yeah, it's one other Buck. But
Yeah,
they basically
Drew Holiday, right? Drew Holiday.
yeah, I think it was. They basically had their finals, had their their parade, and then like the next day flew to Japan, and then like played the next day. It was like
Talk about a
15.
beating.
I think it's a 15-hour flight or something.
Yeah,
Ugh.
they were saying Drew Holiday. They were saying he had arrived like 4 hours prior to the game, and he had like 18 points and like I don't know how many boards in the game against France. He was like one of the only players out there actually doing anything.
That's crazy. And well, I mean, still our top, I would say top players didn't go. You know, LeBron's not there.
Yeah, true.
I mean,
They have
KD
KD.
is there.
They got three of the players who played in the
Yeah.
which most people would argue the best teams did not make it to the NBA Finals this year.
Yeah, yeah, true. But how did Trae Young not get an offer to play on Team USA?
Dude, Trae Young is probably the most disrespected player in the NBA right now. Let's be honest.
That is ridiculous.
Either him or gosh, I was just thinking about this earlier. Who am I? I'm losing my mind. He is one of the most disrespected players, and then it'll come to me. But anyway, yeah, absolutely. He does not get the love or the respect that.
Like if we're gonna take like, I'd rather just take a younger NBA people. Like give me the young ball kid and Devin Booker and like young guys that like want to get after it and are willing to want to represent. I don't know. It's been frustrating to see this team and knowing all the skill they have. They outskill any of the teams. It's just they don't out team any of the teams right now.
Yep. It was like just a bunch of forced shots, and it was like it's just a couple people taking shots. It was mostly KD taking shots. He was clearly off in the game against France. But he just kept shooting the ball, and it was just like, got to work as a team, and that's what France was doing. They were coming down the floor, they're passing the ball around, easy layups, easy dunks, hitting their stroke from behind the line. One
of the biggest things too is rule wise, and the U.S. doesn't probably do it enough for how athletic they are. Once the ball hits the brim, you can take the ball off the rim.
Yep.
But you can't do that in the NBA, so they're so used to not doing it. But it just hit it. Have KD down there. Just jump up and grab it. Don't let it hit it a second time, or it doesn't. It's they. Other countries play together a lot more. A lot of those countries that don't have many NBA players, they're playing in the FIBA World Championships, and they're playing other tournaments with their national team. So we'll see how it goes. I have been following the women's. This is a lot more Olympics than I thought we were going to talk about, but it's actually somewhat entertaining. The women's soccer team made it to the knockout round. Thank goodness. Because that first game didn't look it was normal. Ugly. And then it was an ugly third game. They tied 0-0 with Australia.
Yeah,
It was,
they definitely
it
kind
was
of
enough. I think they might have been just playing tight, knowing that a draw or better gets them in.
sure.
But hopefully they're playing better because they played the Netherlands in the first round.
Yeah, which for anybody listening that doesn't know, Netherlands is always been a good team.
Yeah, men and
As far
women.
as men and
So
women's,
yeah,
traditionally in World Cup soccer or Olympics, yeah, Netherlands are solid.
so that should be. I don't know when they play though. They got to be playing sometime
Yeah,
soon.
it's got to be soon. I mean, what the Olympics go until August 8th, so we've
That's
got
it.
another week and a half or so.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Okay, so that's. Do you have anything else Olympic wise? That's all I
No,
had.
yeah, I feel like we covered a lot of that. Yeah, so this last game they played, just real quick, the United States played Australia, drew 0-0. And looks like let's see here.
They play the Netherlands first round, but I don't know if they win who they play after that.
Actually, drawing against Australia is pretty good. Australia's decent
Are they?
women's soccer. Yeah, they've always been decent. But yeah, they the top post I see is top two posts. Wall Street Journal says U.S. women's soccer trudges into the knockout round. The Washington Post says U.S. women's national team slogs through the group stage. I think
Well,
that is definitely the best way to describe that.
they they had a crazy win like streak going again, like 40 some matches, or wasn't it something
Yep.
like that? They haven't. It was a draw or win. They haven't
Yeah,
lost in in
I
a
don't think
long
they had
time.
lost in a very long time.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, because Sweden took Group G 2-0, and then
That's a good team for sure.
United States 1-1, but we're +2 in goal differential. So that's why we. I think they only take the top two, right? In each
Yes,
group.
top two should be. Yep.
And Australia was a -1. We did beat New Zealand pretty well, which is good.
6-1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
I can't find the bracket right now. Maybe if I just Google bracket.
yeah. I was trying to look too. Not very clear. They may not have a set match yet. That might be one of the reasons.
Okay. All right. Quarterfinals. At least time wise. July 30th, Friday. July 30th at 7 a.m. Hey, I could get up and
Ooh,
actually watch it. They play the Netherlands, but it's Canada versus Brazil, Great
okay,
Britain
that should be a good
versus
one.
Australia. That should be good.
Yep.
Sweden versus Japan, and USA versus Netherlands.
I mean, in my knowledge of women's national soccer is not super extensive. I've watched quite a bit of it, and from my knowledge and standpoint, those all sound like the countries I would have picked for women's soccer to advance. So
Yeah.
that sounds about right on par. I know Japan's got a good team. Netherlands, of course. You got to respect Brazilian soccer. Great Britain's
Brazil's
always
always
had a good
good.
women's team. Yeah.
Guess
Yep.
I guess the only surprise would be Canada. I don't know the group, what group
I'm not.
they're
Yeah.
in, but
Yep.
that would be an interesting game. We play the winner if we win. If the USA wins, they play the winner of Canada and Brazil. So,
Okay. Okay. Could be interesting.
that'll be interesting. All right, so kind of switch subjects here as the title on our first podcast here, episode 0. The VCT and will Sentinels repeat? So, Valorant. Probably right now one of my favorite esports professional game to watch. To watch the professionals, and the VCT is basically the, I don't even know, it's the Valorant Challengers. What's the T stand
Valorant
for?
Champions Tour, right?
Champions Tour. Yep.
Yep.
And so they have Valorant Challengers, and so these are like basically play-in tournaments to make it to the majors. And the first major was in Iceland, correct? Yeah.
Yep.
And the second one is or Masters. Sorry, they're called Masters. In
Yep.
Berlin.
It's in Reykjavik.
Yep. And then the next one's in Berlin.
Berlin. Yep.
So, right now in the North America region, they did Challengers 1, and Sentinels, Xset, 100 Thieves, and Team Envy made it out of there. So, those are the first 4 teams that were put into the bracket for the chance to make it to Berlin. Now they got Challengers 2 going on
Yep.
right now, and those teams I have right here. Um, so we got Gen G versus TSM. These are all starting on the 29th. So when this is being recorded, it's in about a couple days.
Yep.
Gen G versus TSM, version 1 versus T1. So V1 versus T1. Pioneers versus Luminosity. Rise versus FaZe Clan. The first thing that jumps out to me in that is V1. V1 did not get a top 4, and they
Yeah.
were the second representative for NA in Iceland.
Yeah. To not make Berlin, and then to basically have to go the challengers route instead. Yeah, absolutely. Big surprise. I,
So yeah,
you got
they still have a chance. So if they get top 4, they'll make it into the tournament to get to Berlin. But
Yep.
yeah, they that was a little bit surprising. They actually looked awful in that first challengers.
They really did.
I think 100 Thieves beat them 2-0. I think they might have got beat 2-0 twice there, but let's see. 100 Thieves beat them 2-0, and then Pioneers beat them 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think V1 is probably going to be uh, the team to beat in that. I mean, also, FaZe Clan has a solid team. And of course, I would love to see 100 Thieves do well. I don't know how well they'll perform, but yeah, I mean, you got to think V1 for sure.
Yeah, and to get these 2, 4, 6, 8 teams, there was an open qualifier, or to get in, from my understanding. It was a huge tournament before this. There's so many different. It's so crazy to try to keep track of everything. There's a bracket
It is
for
pretty
another
crazy how they chose to do it.
for another bracket. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, but Sentinels obviously get a spot. They actually won the first challengers, so they got the number 1 seed going into the tournament to get to Berlin. But they did look mortal. Xset beat them 2-1. Which they haven't been beaten. They didn't even drop a map, I don't think, in Iceland. They just dominated.
I mean, they steamrolled everybody in Iceland big time, and to lose to a team like Xset, not throwing Xset under the bus or anything, but yeah, that's pretty cringe.
Yeah,
I mean,
they did beat Xset in the champion, the grand finals 3-1. And after they went down to they beat Pioneers 2-0, they beat Team Envy 2-0, they beat 100 Thieves 2-0, and then they beat Xset 3-1. So they looked dominant after that loss, but it was kind of a surprising loss. They're definitely still the favorites, and it'll be interesting to see, the stage 3 playoffs once it's set. That starts August 11th, in a couple weeks. But they are the number 1 seed going in, so whoever gets 4th place in this next tournament, that's who they'll play. So basically, that first challengers, it was for seeding for the final 4. So Sentinels, I believe Sentinels took first, Xset took second, 100 Thieves took third, and Team Envy took fourth.
You talking about stage 3?
Yeah, stage 3. So
yep.
So then they'll go like the reverse. So whoever gets 4th will play Sentinels. Whoever took 3rd will play Xset. second will play 100 Thieves, and whoever takes first will play Team Envy. I
Yep.
believe
Yeah.
that's how
I
it
mean,
goes, and it'll be interesting. I think I haven't really looked at the other countries or other regions and see how the teams that made it to Iceland are doing. Um, but I know, I think it's in EMEA. There's some teams that said that like in the EU and whatnot, the teams that represented them weren't the best teams. They didn't
yeah.
believe were the best teams, so it'll be interesting. Also, Berlin, they are taking 3 um, NA teams.
Really?
Yeah, and I
Huh.
believe the Masters, which will be held in the United States in December, which is like the grand finals of everything, uh, will take 4 NA teams, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah. But that'll be held in Los Angeles, which will be kind of cool. It's been a while since the United States has probably held any large esports, um, like grand finals type stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's they're usually not held here.
Yeah, they're usually in Asia or in
Um,
Europe.
can we, can we talk about the fact that there is a team who competes in the VCT with the name Squirtle Squad? Did you know that?
I did. I did. I was rooting for them.
Yep.
I have no idea
Yeah.
who they were or who was on that team, but yeah, I did. I did
They're
see
so
that they were
little
on
known
there.
apparently that they do not. I can't find their
The
roster
roster.
anywhere. So yeah. But let's talk about Sentinels. I mean, I think that's got to be talked about, right?
So yeah, go ahead. I think
I
I
mean,
know what you're thinking, but go ahead.
obviously, I think if I could future forecast what I think it's going to come down to, I think the final in Berlin or wherever comes down to I think Sentinels in V1. I think it comes down to that. I could potentially see another team there, but I mean, I think it would be hard to ignore the fact that I think Sentinels are the best team, like toe to toe against any team talent wise.
Mhm.
It's their tournament to lose. What do you think about that?
It for sure. Yeah, the way they dominated Iceland, at the and the, that's more worldly. They're playing other teams from other countries. Um, it doesn't look like anyone can compete with them when they're at their best, and maybe even when they're not at their best,
I
teams
would agree with that. Yeah.
can't keep up with them. Right now they have people may argue they have the first or second best player in tens. Um,
Yeah.
on their team now. Like
He's official.
he's
Yeah. June
official.
1st.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
he's not on loan anymore. They bought him out. And
Insane.
yeah, and uh, granted, some people actually is also interesting. Um, are saying that it I think it's Asuna that's also right up there with what people think could be the best player out
As soon
there.
as solid.
Um, but until someone knocks off Sentinels and they have a top player, it goes to tens, hands down.
Yeah, yeah. Asuna is incredible, and one cool thing about Asuna too is, I mean, he is 2 years younger than Tens, so literally just turned 18 like a few days ago, which is
That's
just
crazy.
insane to think about. But yeah, Tens is
How old
yeah.
is Hiko? Because Hiko's
He
in his
goes
30s, right?
he goes old. Yeah, I want to
This
say
is
he goes
really
probably
funny.
like
Like he's in
yeah.
his 30s, which is like senior citizen old when it comes to esports.
It's like you start to question, like, okay, Grandpa, can you
Yeah,
aim quick enough on the computer? Yeah.
exactly.
But no, I mean, it just crazy. That as I get older, as you get older, it's just crazy to see these guys are just, insane. But I was looking at Ten's his like prize pool winnings in the last year, and it's insane. Like the dude is just raking in just tons of money. Not to mention, who knows how much they actually paid for him, how much he makes yearly on his contract or whatever. But I mean, let's see here.
2021, it says he's earned from $65,000 in earning, like in just like tournament earnings.
Yeah, his cut or whatever. Yeah, yeah.
And then he's also getting paid.
Oh, absolutely.
Million probably at least. I don't know what it is. It's got to be up. It's got to be something ridiculous because
Yeah.
they paid a bunch to buy out his contract as well.
I had heard originally that Sinatra was being paid in the millions. Which we could talk about Sinatra if you want to.
And if he was getting paid in the millions, Tens better be getting paid in the millions.
Yeah. Here's a hypothetical. Sinatra comes back, and
he could be back by LA.
He could be back.
He could be back by the Masters.
who on that incredible 5-man roster do you replace him with?
You don't. You sell him.
You think so?
Yeah. You don't mess with that chemistry, especially if they go and win.
If they win,
if they
I think
win Berlin again, they go back to back, Iceland, Berlin, or even top 3, I would say. I just don't think you mess with that. Yeah. Or you just hold on to him, and then you can. It's a contract. You don't have to let him out of it. Don't let him go to another team. Honestly, that's probably what I would do.
Yeah, sure.
If I was an owner. And it sounds awful. Like when it comes to Call of Duty, that's a whole nother thing with their contracts. And like 100 Thieves has like had 7 or 8 different roster changes this year. But they go down and like play challengers, or like they play the lower, like I think it's called challengers. But they like just let them out of their contracts and stuff like that. And I'm like,
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a little interesting. But if I was Sentinels, I'd keep them as a reserve.
Yeah.
Unless you can, get a boatload of money for him.
I'm sure there's some team out there that would pay for him. I'm sure there would be, but that with all of his baggage. So
yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if that would be tough for him to get. One, does that team want to bring on that baggage, and all of what can come with that if you start playing him? Because he's not out of the hot water either. I don't think.
No, he's not. He's not.
I think there might be some more investigations and stuff like that, and so until he's out of that, I think technically he is. September, I believe, is when his suspension is over from Riot.
Yeah, I think he started March 10th or something like that. Was the the date he went inactive.
Yeah,
so to speak. But yeah, he's still doing incredibly well on Twitch. Brings in like 8,000 or 9,000 people at a time. He's not lost a step either as far as skill wise goes. He's an incredible player. So aside from whatever happened, and I've said this before, and I'll say it 1,000 times again. If what he did is true, then yeah, I mean, that's disgusting.
He'll be
so
out.
yeah, he deserves everything that he's got coming for him. Yep.
So I sent you a link on Discord real quick if you want to click on that, bring that up for yourself. So this is the bracket for challengers.
Yeah.
2, stage 3, challengers 2. There's so many different things. All right, so let's make our predictions.
Okay.
We gotta do top 4. So the top 4 goes. Who is your 4th place team out of here?
4th place. Man, that's a tough one.
I think TSM or I think TSM might take fourth.
I was gonna say TSM. Probably
So
so.
my top four, and I don't know what order. I think V1 might have a good chance of getting out of here if they hopefully are looking better. But I'm actually going to say V1 doesn't make top four. I think it's TSM. Oh, man. TSM, FaZe. I think those two for sure. I'm going to go out on branch and say Pioneers are going to make it. I think
You
they
think
might
so?
make a surprise and take top four. Um, and then I think whoever loses the Gen G TSM, I think they make a comeback at top four.
I mean, yeah,
That's
Gen
going to
G
be
is
tough.
solid.
Losing that first round is going to be tough coming back, but
I could see Pioneers knocking off Luminosity.
they had
Um,
a good last tournament. They had some upsets and
I think I
whatnot.
think I think FaZe Clan zooms past Rise. Um, I think that's going to come down if Baby Bay is in top form.
Yeah, Baby
Um,
Bay's got to be playing well.
he's insane. But he does oftentimes carry that team. So if he's having an off day or off night, it could be trouble for them. Yeah, I think I see Pioneers over them. I think I see V1 over T1. Gen G probably over TSM. Maybe.
I know
I
it's
don't know.
tough. They're all pretty solid teams. I think. I don't know. I just don't. The way the V1 played. Well, let's. If I could find that open qualifier. I don't know how they got obviously top 8 to get into this. Let's see the open qualifier. Go. So all right. So this is how it phase TSM T1 luminosity. Is that from? Okay, so that's how it works. So the top 4 teams made it because they were in the first one. So
Okay.
that makes sense. That makes sense to you. So
Yeah.
Gen G, Pioneers, Rise, and V1 all made it because they made Challengers 1. And then the bottom 4 teams all came from the open qualifier. And the open
Okay.
qualifier, FaZe beat Ghost Gaming 2-0, TSM beat Dark Zero 2-1, T1 beat Built by Gamers 2-0, and Luminosity beat Cloud9 Blue 2-0. Okay, that
Got it.
makes more sense now. I was trying to figure out like how did those other 4 get in there, but they made it into Challengers 1 and were the bottom 4 teams.
Gotcha.
Gosh, there's so much that goes. It's crazy trying to keep up with all of that.
Back
Okay.
on V1 real quick. Obviously, them losing one of their main roster players to suspension as well could be potentially troubling for them too, and maybe that has some sort of
True.
effect on them.
Zelsis is on suspension, isn't he?
Yeah. Inappropriate remarks. We don't know what those remarks were, but
at Iceland.
Yeah.
At
Apparently
the
he said
event.
it. Apparently he said it to some Riot staff or something like that. Who knows what he said, but
What a dummy.
yeah, dude, just like keep your mouth shut. Like, I know people get heat in the heat of the moment or whatever, but just like, yeah, that's the other thing too, is like they're all young.
I wonder how long he's suspended for.
It doesn't say.
He was suspended on 6/12. So I'm not sure. So they're going with Vanity, Effie's, Penny, and Whippy.
Yep.
So, and also
Effie's is solid.
V1. Who was the one that couldn't come because they were playing with an alternate because of like visa issues.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
I don't remember who that was either. So yeah, they kind of have an uphill battle not having one of their main guys. That's why I'm calling that. That's my biggest upset. Is V1 will not make it into the tournament to get
Yep.
to Berlin.
Yep.
Which now I know that
Absolutely.
they have someone that's suspended. That was even before I even know someone was suspended. So, um,
Yep. Yep.
it'll be.
Yeah.
But it's all like really well known. Uh, what's the word I'm looking? Programs. I'm blanking right now. Um, teams like well-known teams like FaZe Clan, TSM,
Yeah.
Luminosity,
Organizations.
organizations, Gen G, which is cool. But then you also have some of your, not as well known like Pioneers,
And box.
Rise, Ambox.
Yep.
You had some that were pushing for that open qualifier. You had Ghost Gaming. I've
And well,
never
to
heard
be
of
fair,
them.
some of these teams they're more popular in the CS:GO realm,
Mm,
and so some of them come over. Like take for example, like Renegades and Evil Geniuses. Like
true.
those are big name teams in CS:GO, but otherwise not big name in like League of Legends and those sorts of
Yeah.
those sorts of things. But
Dark
yeah, I do
Zero.
agree.
Dark Zero took TSM 2-1 in the open qualifier.
Yep.
That would have
Or
been
like
cool.
Pittsburgh Knights
Yeah.
or, Squirtle Squad, like we are talking about them earlier. Ghost Gaming,
Yeah.
like you said. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, some huge names. NRG, Immortals, Complexity, TSM.
NRG lost first round to Resonate.
Yeah, NRG is weird. It's like they didn't invest correctly. And
Yeah.
for those listening that don't know, NRG is obviously they are a huge organization. They own the San Francisco Shock. They are co-owned by Shaq. Um, some big money there for sure.
Hex.
Yep,
Chicago.
yep.
The Chicago, or not Chicago. Well, no, not Chicago anymore, but Optic Gaming. They're
Yep.
under. I don't know how that's all goes, but yeah, they got good teams, and yeah, it's kind of surprising that. To be honest, looking at the people on the team, I don't actually know any of them, and I don't know a ton of
Yeah.
Valorant players by their name and whatnot, but I don't
You got to
really
think
recognize any of them.
you got to think by next season we're going to start to see some more investment from teams. It's picking up traction. This is quickly becoming one of the most popular esports in the world. Um, it is close to overtaking CS:GO as far as the most popular first person shooter. I think at this point it's definitely overtaken the Call of Duty League. Who watches the Call of Duty League? I don't know anybody that does.
They that and Overwatch League really, I felt it killed it when it went to YouTube.
To YouTube, yeah, we've had that discussion before.
Oh.
That was a big mistake.
And the
who knows?
and the scheduling change. They did a whole different
Yeah.
scheduling change and all that, but it's on the rise. And the biggest thing is they let streamers co-stream. Like
Which is
Shroud
huge.
is bringing
Yep.
in like in the big tournaments, he's bringing in over 100,000 people like watching his stream. Like at
Him,
at the big ones, but
Myth does it as well.
I think Ninja has done it from time to time, but Shroud is obviously by far the biggest one. But I don't know, it'll be fun. It's been exciting. They got Berlin, which is starts in September 9th. And then I think, yeah, so we got EMA, which is like EU and some other parts of the region of the world over there. They get 4 spots.
Okay.
They get 4 spots because they have it's a bigger area. It's more countries and whatnot. NA gets 3 spots. People were complaining that EMEA gets 4 spots, but like it's a bunch more countries.
For sure.
LATAM, so like Latin America, I think, is 1 spot.
One team.
Yeah, Brazil. I honestly don't get why Brazil is its own spot, or like its own
Yeah.
region, but they get two. Um, Korea gets two. Japan gets two, and Southeast Asia, which is a new region just created. Excuse me. Between Iceland and Berlin, which is interesting. They get two spots. It's
Hmm.
they're trying to grow Valorant in that area in Southeast
Yeah.
Asia. So they're giving them two spots. So let's see, one, two, three,
Makes
four.
sense.
So 16 teams. So that's more than Iceland. I don't think Iceland had 16 teams.
No, I don't think it did either.
So, and Sentinels already have, are they obviously they want to win, but they already have their spot set for the Masters from winning Iceland. So
Yep.
that's an automatic qualifier, and then this one will be an automatic qualifier, and then I think they go based off points, so you get points for winning matches and all these different VCT tournaments, and then there'll be like some kind of last chance tournament, I believe, to get to the
Saw
Masters
that.
as well. So
Yep.
lots of exciting things to come. If we make this podcast somewhat semi um, uh,
Regular.
regular thing, we'll definitely be talking about the
Oh yeah.
VCT coming up because that Berlin's in 2 weeks, or no, not 2 weeks. The the finals to get to Berlin is in 2 weeks, so that'll be
Yep.
some exciting stuff. But yeah, that's all I had on Valorant, and I'm honestly I had some other stuff, but we're at an hour here, and I'm kind of ready to wrap
We
this up.
talked way more than we thought
Yeah,
we
we got some we have so much we could talk about EFT as well, some Escape
would. Oh
from
jeez.
Tarkov, but that's
Yeah.
actually what we're gonna be doing once we get off here. So yeah, that's all I had. You have anything else?
No, man. This has been fun. This is we talk about this stuff while we play games normally, so why not put it out there and discuss stuff in this way? So I think this will be a lot of fun.
Excellent, thank you. Well, again, you can follow me at SquirtusMV07. You can follow Michael at Butrum_Michael. If you're watching this on Twitch, it'll be on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll probably just stay on YouTube. You probably won't watch it on Twitch. But you can watch it either way. We will be putting up, I will be making known playlists on my YouTube page for our episodes. But until next time, we'll hopefully maybe in a week or 2 weeks, we'll have another episode out for you guys. But until then, adios.
Yes, sir. See you.